welcome back to the Walk to Racing channel. Before we get started, if I could have everybody please subscribe, hit that notification bell so y'all can be notified whenever new posts come up, as well as like and comment. Views are coming in. I'd like subscribers to start growing. I'm enjoying doing this, man. It takes a lot to actually do this, and I'm a perfectionist at heart, so everything's getting better as time goes on. And if y'all could show some love, and the channel will grow and things will get better, we'll do more content, we'll share more things with y'all. But today, it's a continuation of the Coyote BMR suspension project that we have with my brother's Whippled Mustang. Ran into a couple snags. We actually ended up having some issues with the Driveshaft, but working with two great, amazing companies, LMR and Driveshaft shop, they actually ended up helping us and sending out the parts to get the fix going, like you'll see in the video. But we enjoyed it. We're having fun making this content. I don't know if there's going to be a 2 and a 3rd part to this. There might be 3 parts because I've got probably about 2 hours of footage total. I don't want to be making these videos long, like I said before in the past, just because new channel viewer retention just doesn't stay there. But if y'all could, please again subscribe, like, comment, and show some love, and we'll get right to the video. Thanks, guys. We ain't got much left other than putting the lower control arms in, the upper control arm, the panhard bar, and then setting the drive shaft and drive shaft loop in. And then basically other than that, all we gotta do is set the in springs. And then other than that, we just basically setting the suspension up, adjusting it where we want it, getting the track correct, setting the axle center in the wheel wells, and setting the axle center inside of the actual car with the adjustable panhard bar.
I think this thing fucking moves though, because it says to measure this or some shit.
Yeah, no, it probably does. There you go.
Nope.
Don't give me stuff. We're gonna get it like this. Alright. Like I said, it's not like it even sits in those things.
Yeah, it don't even fucking go. It don't fit.
I don't know if it's not the one you order, that's for sure. But there's probably an adapter that goes for this one, but you order the one without the fucking adapter.
Yeah. Wish I had the fucking part number what the fuck this is. From what I ordered on their website on my order.
Right here.
John Seamless, that's the 2D.
Can you read upside down?
Yeah. I guess so.
Not really good, but kind of funny. As you can see, all the nice pretty red parts are in. Lower control arm drops, lower control arm. Got the panhard bar, brace. We also got the upper control arm and upper control arm mount in. Thing looks pretty good. Some bolts are tight. Got the springs in as well. Others are just loose because we still need to get the drive shaft in and adjust it. But speaking of drive shaft, we had a little bit of an issue. We don't know if it was a shipping issue or carrier issue, but the drive shaft that was sent to us, like we had mentioned previously, was supposed to fit right inside of the flange, the CV was supposed to fit right inside of the flange. Supposed to be just like factory. Whereas previous renditions of the drive shaft, you'd have to have an adapter. And they usually had an adapter because the bolt, the bolt pattern was different, correct?
Yeah, different bolt pattern.
Different bolt pattern, and pretty much just a different bolt pattern.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if the thickness was different on the cup at the end of it that goes in, or I think that shaft right there is supposed to have an adapter plate, but wouldn't make sense because it wouldn't fit from the pinion hub to the end of the output shaft on the transmission. It wouldn't fit in there.
So what we're running into issue-wise is this lip right here, whatever you want to call it, this protrusion, the end of it's too long, and it's running into the pinion bolt.
Yeah, pinion lip.
And you can't actually cinch this down. There's about, what, I'd say 1/8 of an inch gap between sitting flush in there.
I think it's more than that. I didn't measure it. But
I mean, it's a pretty big difference. And it looks like the bolt pattern is correct, almost. But this cup right here is wrong. And if you actually look at the factory drive shaft, this cup comes out to about here. So it's bottoming out on the pinion bolt. Which, looking at the instructions that came in the box, because we didn't look at that when we opened it.
Well, we did, but we assumed.
Yeah, kind of assumed.
Generic instruction page, because the information that was on the website, on LMR's website, said that it was direct fit CV, and I've looked up the part numbers that I ordered on Driveshaft shop and a couple other places, and from what I ordered, it was supposed to be the right one. Now we are not able to find the actual part number on there, and there was no invoice in it. The box was pretty bad damaged, so.
But the instructions did have an excerpt where it stated put the supplied 6-bolt adapter in there, which kind of tells us that this was,
come with one, so.
yeah, it kind of tells us this is the old style drive shaft that they were offering, which if you look on their website, like you said, cross-referencing all the part numbers, it should have been the new style where it just literally sits flush right inside of the cup. But like I said, we're running into this pinion bolt. It's hitting the end of the cup, and it's not actually falling into place like it should. Not only that, we can tell something's wrong because the drive shaft's so long because it's not bottoming out, it's in a bind, and we actually can't get the front flange over top of that. Alright, so what is this, day 3? Day 3 of getting shafted?
Not so much get shafted.
Actually, some good came out of it. Found out old LMR's a pretty stand-up, yeah, I got you. Pretty stand-up little company. Oh, you got it locked because people steal things around here. Bad neighborhood, huh?
Pretty shady.
Pretty shady. Yeah, I see a little shade.
So LMR, I talked with them several times. Guy Jared at LMR, and he did a really good job working with me as customer service to try to figure out what the problem is. Sent him an email with a bunch of pictures. He called me on the phone, sent more pictures. He was in direct contact with Driveshaft service, trying to explain to them what the problem was. And he told me, he said, hey, look, if we can't get it figured out, we'll refund you 100% what it is, and we'll go from there. Driveshaft service got contact back with him and said, hey, we're going to send out to him a factory style end cap. They said what they've seen in the past with one other person, a guy had the same car, but he did an MT82 to a 6R80 swap, and he actually had some work done to his rear end, and the pinion nut was a little bit deeper in the crust sleeve, and so the pinion stuck out a little further, which is what we were having problems with. It was contacting this part, the pinion was, and wouldn't allow it to seat in all the way. All the bolt holes were the right pattern, it just wouldn't seat all the way. So they sent out this plate, the factory style, just like this, because you can tell if you go, you can tell that factory is shallower than the new one, and it's flat versus kind of pokes out, protrudes out. So they sent this one out for us to take off of here and put this one on. And they said it just silicones on it, so you can tell there's a 1/4 inch or so difference in that. And so Jared also told me, I asked a question, I said, so I do this, pry this off, and I silicone this one on like DSS says. I'm pretty well stuck with it, then it's mine. If it don't work, it's mine, right? And he said, no. If it still don't work, we're gonna send you a return label, and we'll get you taken care of. So I thought that was pretty awesome
pretty stand
of
up.
the company to say,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna allow you to modify this drive shaft, and if it don't work, we're still gonna take on, getting you taken care of. Because he said, we're telling you to do it.
And not only that, they gave you a couple options. You could send the drive shaft back the way it was, and they could do this for you.
Yeah, he said they would send it to DSS, and he said, but it's simple. All it is
yeah,
prying this off, and he said they just fill it up with blue silicone in there, and just to keep any of the grease from coming out of the CV. He said just pry it off.
Like you said, if it don't work, they said send it back.
Yeah,
which is like,
and they're gonna refund me.
That's pretty cool. And this is not, I mean, really nobody's fault. Like I said, they've only seen this. They said one other time with a swapped car.
Yeah, LMR said that they've sold probably 200 of these drive shafts this year and had no issues whatsoever.
And that's just LMR.
Yeah.
They've probably, I mean, who knows?
And DSS had to get one of their techs, and I was like, yeah, I've seen this one other time.
One time.
So I don't know how many drive shafts that they've sold for this.
And my question was that's weird that we have a car that's one in a million.
I didn't buy this car brand new. I bought it at like 20,000 miles or so. And I can't say what was done to any of that
previously.
But it's looking like someone might have been in the rear end at some point.
Either there was a...
I know that whenever I broke it apart to put the axles in it, I didn't notice anything that I thought was out of place. And I want to say I remember looking at the ring and pinion gear, and I could have swore it was a 315.
Which is the factory auto ratio.
I can't be 100%.
So it could have been
this little deal now.
It could have been a warranty issue because the vehicle didn't look like when you purchased it there was any previous modifications to it that would.
No, it was.
Somebody wouldn't do just rear gears in it. So
unless
it was
somebody,
broke it or something, which is highly likely or something like that. I mean, the car was clean, but it could have been a warranty thing where right out of the factory there was a little bit of an issue, which it makes sense because if you look at the Pinion, where it does look like it's it's. Where it is depth-wise is a little off. It's a little odd because the bolt, where the bolt goes through, the nut goes over the end of the pinion, it does stick out quite a bit.
Yeah, when we get it up there, I'm going to look a little closer at it. I know this was all transpired over about the course of about 3 days.
Which is...
From the time that LMR contacted me, which was the very next day I sent the email. And he had a resolution on Tuesday, and DSS overnighted this. I had it the very next day. And so
this was on Christmas. This is the week of Christmas.
Yeah, they were open Monday and Tuesday. LMR and DSS contacted them on Monday and Tuesday afternoon at 4:00.
Yeah,
they sent this to me free. Like, they didn't charge me.
And overnighted it.
And I did pay, though, to have it overnighted, but they discounted it.
Yeah.
Big time.
So for a company to be able to get back to you that quick on a resolution on a holiday week.
While dealing with another company.
While dealing with a third party. Yeah, because you bought this from LMR, who basically purchased it from Driveshaft Shop.
No, he said that they buy it from a third party.
But it's Driveshaft Shop's design.
Yeah, they don't get it straight from Driveshaft Shop.
Which makes sense.
They get it from, like, a vendor.
Yeah.
He told me, he said, this don't work. Just throw this cap back in the box. We'll send you a label. And he said, we'll deal with the vendor of what to do from there. And we'll refund you your money, everything that you've got. And you can either go with another drive shaft or determine from there. So we're going to find out how this goes. Neither one of us have ever done this before. DSS says it's no big deal. So we're going to try to pry this off. And silicone on this one and put the drive shaft in and see if we're good, or if the stalker is going to go back in for a little while.
There it goes. See it moving. Here it goes.
Heard it.
Mm-hmm. Here, let me just let it go. Oh, is that all butyl rubber?
Silicone, it said. Let's move it a little bit.
Ooh. Damn. That wasn't that bad.
Pick it up.
But we'll probably take some grease and put on the inside.
So, that's evidently what it looks like.
So, we've got the cap off, which was a lot easier than what we were expecting. What it looks like on the inside. And all it was basically, this was an end cap for the CV, and it was siliconed on there. You see some of the grease from the actual CV inside. Came off very easy, a lot easier than what I was expecting. Now hopefully it just goes back together the same. Oh God. It gives me anxiety just watching it. The only thing is now is, are we gonna clean the surface where the, yeah.
We get the heavy shit on this, huh? Definitely tell the difference. Height to height here.
Yeah, I'm sitting there looking at it
How
going,
it slides up underneath of it like
yeah,
that.
hopefully it goes on. And hopefully that's still short enough where it goes in the rear end.
Well, that's the idea. So, DSS said they did the same thing with the guy that had the issue, and this fixed this problem.
Okay.
So-
But hopefully it's not, the pinion isn't out even further than this.
Well, the stock one fits in there.
Oh, that's the stock
This is
size.
the stock size.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So this, what we're saying is, this cap is the exact same stock size that we showed you earlier. That was in the rear end already. So it's,
Yeah. So ideally,
yes.
yeah, it should be good. Right. So,
Got this thing all boogered up with some, what is that, RTV black Permatex? Typical sealant, whatever. Silicone sealant. And then we took the rest of the grease that was all bought up in there and put it in the end. But should slap right on there. We're going to use the bolts, the Allen heads that came with it to line it up to make sure we get all Get it all on there straight. Because once this deal's on there and dried, we're kind of shit out of luck if it's not straight.
Well, I mean, pry it back off.
Yeah. Start over. Alright. Stick a bolt through that thing here.
We'll put it, go ahead and.
Alright, so what you saw us do was, I mean, we probably could have gone about that a couple different ways, channel locks or something, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this cup to seat over the top of the lip so it'll cinch down and the Permatex will actually dry.
And the bolt holes stay lined up.
Yeah, and the bolt holes stay lined up. So all we did was we just used the bolts, and those nuts are not supplied. He had those in his toolbox. And we just slowly kind of crimped it down a little bit, making sure we weren't tightening it. We didn't put a whole lot of force on there, just to kind of evenly set this cap flush on there. Now all we're gonna do is we're gonna let it dry off. We have to clean these bolts off because we squeezed some of the Permatex out doing that, but I actually think that went pretty good.
We'll find out.
Control arms are back in their locations. We had to take them off just to double check to make sure before we got the drive shaft all the way in there that they were the correct length. We ended up having to take one of the lower control arms off to be able to get the correct angle to get the drive shaft in. Just getting us a little bit of fits. We've got the drive shaft loop just kind of set right there. Just kind of watching, looking. Now that we've got pretty much the weight of the car on the rear end, mimicking with a jack stance, just a little bit concerned about the drive shaft loop. We might have to shim it a little bit more. It talks about shimming it in the instructions, but right now what he's doing is he's actually got a tool that's telling him what degree the angle of the pinion is, and he's using,
well, you want to take the degree that the motor and the trans is sitting at. So you can either do it on a balancer, or you can try to do it up in the bell housing here. If you can find a flat spot and a good area to get it at. I couldn't really get it at a good spot, so I stuck it on the crank, into the crank snout right there. And it looks like we're about, once it quit moving earlier, it showed we were about 89. On the measurement was about 89. And
back here when I placed it on the CV, it was showing 87. So if you were to take that from 0, it would have been a -1 from 0, and this would have been at a -2, which gives us an overall of a -1 pinion angle, which is what the spec was called for lower than 1.5 inches. With an automatic.
With an automatic, yeah. So now I'm measuring. Driveshaft service shop says to measure from the CV to the edge of the aluminum on the drive shaft. It's got to be between a 3 1/4 and 3 3/4, and From what I'm gathering, that's so has suspension cycles that allows this CV to move back and forth a little bit. So any less than that gap, it says not to run the shaft because I guess you bottom out.
You can bottom out and you can pull the CV out, or it'll actually collapse into the rear end too much.
I guess.
Yeah. So as far as the lower control arms, we have them eyelid to eyelid for the factory, and then the lowering drop brackets, or the control arm drop brackets from BMR, calls for a 1.5 inch rear spring drop to be in the middle hole. So we just got done, like I said, torquing everything. Now is to we're getting to the point where we need to put the wheels on it and set it down. And
We got to put the sway bar back on.
oh yeah, we need to put the sway bar back
And
on.
we need to tighten up our adjusters on the control arms.
Do the GM nuts, tighten those up, and then we can set it down and not only see ride height, but we can also see where the wheel's centered at. And then we also need to adjust the panhard bar as well, which that's going to be another ordeal.
So my mistake with the way I took it here, following the angle of drive shaft, we are at 3.5 on the gap.
So that's within what they're calling for.
Yeah. Yeah, paper calls for it. Must be between 3 1/4 and 3 3/4. Any longer or shorter, do not run the shaft.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was before.
I don't know, but it looks a lot more centered in the wheel well. All right, so he's throwing the tires back on there. I'm definitely not doing it because they weigh more than me and it's 10 foot in the air. But all the jam nuts in the lower control arms, upper control arm is tight. Went ahead and threw the exhaust on there. I mean, we were just talking about last time he did this, you were on your back. And it was just nice to do it with a lift. Took 15 minutes, and man, everything was just lined up perfectly. Like I was telling him, man, I could spend 2 or 3 days down here, you know, lining exhaust, and it just seemed like it just fell in place. It's definitely a lot better. It's a lot tighter than what it was previously. It's just a lot tighter. It's just so much nicer to have it. I mean, just look how even and nice and straight it is. Got the drive shaft loop in there. That did have to be shim, just like the instructions said. They said that shimming may be required, and I'm pretty sure you can't not shim that deal. Lower control arms, like I said, jam nuts are tight. The only thing we need to do is the panhard bar adjustment, which we'll do once we get the car on the ground and we'll see the side to side of the wheel. We're gonna see if this thing sits like a
70s gasser.
or a small tire car. If it's just like a small tire car on the street, that'd be pretty cool.
Might have to take some of those weights off that axle. You know, if it pulls it down too much.
Oh, the Pro Mod weights?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are those, like 3 pounds, 4 pounds? I mean, every pound counts.
What do they say? Every 10 pounds is like a second off the quarter.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever those internet racers say. The same ones that probably done this job in 3 hours.
Oh yeah, we're idiots for sure, but
I mean, I'm
We're
actually,
bigger idiots to those people.
I'm not gonna actually argue with the fact that I'm an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
It does definitely look good, man. I mean, I shit on you for the black on red. I mean, it's black on red. That rear end looks so much better painted, especially now with the wheels on there.
Oh, yeah. For all the haters, it doesn't put out very much torque.
It definitely already looks better without even being settled in the back.
I know.
It actually sits pretty right.
It might be sitting on the camera or something.
I was still sitting on the lift.
No. Yeah, it needs to come this way, son.
Rear end.
Yeah.
So this is what we were talking about with the pin hard bar adjustment, where the wheel's sticking out. Saying it needs to go passenger side.
Pretty close.
Maybe a 1/4 inch. Good, bad.
No, I think it's good.
Not
The biggest hiccup was the drive shaft and LMR and DSS. They did a really good job trying to help us out.
And that wasn't really anybody's fault. That was just kind of a freak 1 in a million thing.
There's no telling.
Yeah, and it actually turned out pretty good.
It's hard to get mad about something when they're trying to take care of you.
Yeah, exactly. Which we were pretty worried about in the first place.
Pro mod.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! How did you fucking get in here?
What are you talking about? I feel like a glove, baby. Built for a man, sir.
Yeah, me.
All right, I missed the whoa, man, and part of that.